What's up, everyone? It's Nick from Team Nitro YGO here, and today I'm bringing you a Salaman Great Deck profile for January of 2022. This is a deck that's always been in the backlogs. You can say it's been something I like tinkering around with. Not something I've been taking super seriously, but it is something I've been trying to make work, and this is by far one of the more successful builds I've had with the deck. Granted, it's not very original. We'll talk about that as we go through the card by card, but alas, if you want to make a deck competitive, you gotta play the broken cards. So, again, we'll get to that when we get to that. But for the Salamangreat lineup, we've got one Gazelle, two Spinny, two Foxy, two Jack Jaguar, and one Falco. I'm not going to go too in-depth over these ratios. They've been pretty standard for the last year or so. The only one I've been thinking about upping is Spinny to 3 because it's the best extender. You know, it's the one where you can use both effects in one turn. It's not even a terrible normal, letting you do something like normal it, go into Phalanx, bring itself back, and then you can go immediately into Verte. Other than that, I don't really want, I never wanted the third Foxy. The Graveyard effect doesn't come up a lot since you have to discard a card. It's a really bad normal summon because you can only use one effect that turn, so if you normal, you can't bring it back like you can with Spinny, so it limits the amount of plays you can make. Jaguar is here to extend. It's allow you to get your resources back. Falco just sets trap cards. That's about it. As you can see on this build, we're on Lady Debug. This is for a multitude of reasons. The first one is the DPE package, Dasher, letting you special summon a monster, meaning you can special debug, get the effect, search a monster, you have your normal for the turn, you can continue to make plays. And secondly is that this is also a one-card Verte. So, again, I'm trying to maximize my amount of one-card Vertes while limiting my number of bricks. And so Debug's just the best starter. Even though I hate this card in a vacuum, it gets interacted with way too often, and it doesn't actually contribute to the deck's game plan going into the late game, but it's the best starter for what it's trying to accomplish right now, which is why I'm playing it. Parallel Exceed is an entirely different story. If Crossout Designator did not exist, I would not be playing this card, but Crossout exists, so you can play it without reasonable fear of Nibiru because you can just cross out the Nibiru. And even if you do get hit with a Nibiru, if you hold the Parallel Exceed, you can turn the token into something, special the Parallel Exceed, and you still get to end on bodies. And again, if worse comes to worse, you can take the two parallels and you can slap them into Verte. As you can see, my whole deck is about making Verte when you get stopped. So, and then you got to play the broken card. DPE is by far one of the best cards in the format, arguably the best card in the entire format. So we're trying to utilize it here with Celestial and Dasher. You can actually empty your hand relatively easily in this deck. So Celestial drawing you cards is easy. Dasher specialing a monster has all of its applications. Of course, drawing these cards sucks, but what are you going to do? And then for the hand traps, 3 Ash, 3 Imperm, and 3 Nibiru. Oh, sorry. These are just the ones that I think are the highest impact while having the most versatility against the format. And I do want good cross-out targets, mainly Nibiru. Moving on to the spell cards, we got 3 Mining, just another starter. It can go get you any of your one-card Vertes. 3 Fusion Destiny. You do want to hard draw this card, believe it or not. If your plays get interrupted, you want to be able to make the DP, so not much more to say. This card's insanely busted, so 3 Crossout, mostly here for Nibiru, but it can hit Ash on Fusion Destiny. It can hit Imperm on your Verte or your access code. It's really good to protect your plays, but it's not very good going second, so that's the trade-off there. But you know, there isn't really a card that protects you from hand traps that's good going second anyway, outside of Tactics, but that's a whole other argument for a whole other day. 2 Will. Again, this is another card that I want to put up to 3, but there just isn't any room in the deck. I really want to play 40 cards to maximize my consistency, and so I could only fit 2 Will in the deck. But this card is ridiculous. Being able to revive 2 monsters at once, or just being a reborn every turn. I send this with Gazelle a lot because I want to be able to wolf and get it back to my hand to have 2 extenders to go later in the turn. Circle, search, protect, usual, the brick. And then I'm only playing 1 of each trap. Again, I want to maximize the amount of things that my deck can do going first, while also limiting the amount of bad cards going second. These suck going second, so there's that. Moving on to the extra deck, we got the standard 3 Phalanx and 3 Sunlight Wolf. I'm not playing Heat Leo. I needed to make room for other things in the extra deck. But if you wanted to play Heat Leo, you could. You would just have to cut the Lingaribo and the Nightmare Phoenix. But Lingaribo's been good. This probably should be Link Spider instead of Lingaribo. For exactly when you get Nibiru, you can take that token, turn it into Link Spider, and then special Parallel Exceed. But I've had Lingaribo come up because, you know, people are playing Imperm, evenly matches a very powerful side deck card against you, and I want to have ways to interact with that specifically. And this is another Link that you can convert all of your salads into, to trigger the parallel so it can get things going. Verte, I really hope this card gets banned, but until it doesn't, I'm going to play this card in all my rogue decks. It's ridiculous. Splash Mage helps you climb into access code while also giving you extension through hand traps. Phoenix to clean up spells and traps, mostly to out the floodgates that are going to interact with you. Stuff like there can be only one, Imperial Order, Mystic Mine, stuff like that. The Jammer for the OTK, Transcode to bring back the update, and then access code. Play broken cards. I don't know what to tell you. Abyss Dweller is the rank 4. Is the rank 4 of choice here. This is mostly a Drytron and Bird Up consideration. I think normally I would play something like Dugaris or Baguska, something that has a little bit more flexibility. But Dweller shutting off the graveyard is important. And, you know, it is just one of the better rank 4s you can go to in the dark. There are very few decks that actively don't want to use their graveyard, so you have worse options. So, and then the DPE. This card's broken as shit. Like, I don't have to tell you guys that. This card is utterly and absolutely ridiculous. Play it until they hit Verte. And then onto the side deck, we got 3 Droll for Drytron and other random rogue decks like Adagnister or Dragon Link. You know, you have to play Floodgate hand traps in a deck like this because going second, your plan is just to access code them. So trying to 1-for-1 them going second sometimes doesn't work because the power level of your cards are so low. You kind of just need to blow them out and kill them. Same thing with Lancia. You could play other cards to interact with Phantom Knight, but again, you're trying to blow them out and just access code them because those decks don't have a lot of hand traps in them. So you're free to play with almost impunity. 3 Chalice. These probably should be droplets, but if I do pick up this deck in real life, I'm not going to have droplets. So I wanted to play a card that helped the going second problem while also being relatively inexpensive, and Chalice is that. This card's very, very good in this format. But if you're looking for a more board-breaking style of card, it should be Dark Ruler No More or Forbidden Droplet. 3 Twin Twisters for the back row decks. They can be Cosmic, could be Feather Duster, Evenly Matched. This could be any back row removal spell of your choice. And then 3 Judgment. Because again, going first, you want to be able to protect your board. This is one of the few cards that can help you do that. You could play extra copies of the Salad Traps if you wanted, because they are somewhat searchable. Like, you can have Gazelle send them, and then you can pick them up with Wolf. But I wanted a card that was just very generic and could interact with the most amount of things. Judgment fit that category. And, like, even going second, sometimes this card's not too bad. It's pretty abysmal because it is a trap card. But of the trap cards you can board going second, it's by far one of the least bad ones. So... and again, like I mentioned earlier with Lingarievo, I want cards to protect from evenly match. I want to be able to stop things like access code that's being pushed for me. That would kill me. I want to be able to interact with Verte, Fusion Destiny, the entire shebang. So this is one of the few cards that we have that can do that. So that's going to wrap it up for the deck profile. I do apologize that this isn't my normal content. Again, haven't played a lot of in-person Yu-Gi-Oh! Just trying to get the ball rolling. And I have been labbing this deck a lot. Had a lot of good cross-out stuff. Cross-out hitting Fusion Destiny has been a huge interaction with this deck. You can also do things like cross-out Imperm on the access code, like I was talking about earlier. You can cross-out Ash if it's going to hit your Fusion Destiny or your Signet Mining. But you do want to take this card out going second a lot, because it doesn't do a lot. You know, unless you're playing a mirror match, which is very unlikely, you're not going to have the same card as your opponent, other than the generic stuff. So, but yeah, I do really like this deck. This is by far just, you know, a fun rogue option, but it is one of the more powerful rogue options. Like I was talking about, if you want to make your rogue deck as good as possible, you want to play the broken cards. So playing the DPE access code is one of the most ridiculous links we have access to in the game. You get to play all the best hand traps, and the Salad Core is just relatively powerful for what you're trying to accomplish. So, all in all, I really do enjoy this deck. And I think it's just going to be something fun to tinker with for the rest of the format until we get Grand Creators, and I'll have to play Brave. So that's going to do it. Thank y'all so much for watching. Let me know what you think of this in the comment section down below. If you want more DB deck profiles like this, or if you prefer the physical card content. And let me know what you would change about this deck. What do you think about my ratios? And that'll do it. My name is Nick from Team Nitro Wajo, and I'll see y'all next time. Have a good one.